Welcome to our podcast, Raising Bigs. This podcast is an ongoing conversation between myself and my young adult son. We're ready and willing to talk about all the things families might experience in their lives and relationships, both as parents and young adults, from teens to 20-somethings. The good, the bad, and sometimes the ugly. In this episode, we're each sharing our top 3 life hacks, little things that help us keep everything on the rails, provide stability and balance to our lives. It's common for life to feel like a runaway train, but each of us has the ability to slow the roll and guide where the tracks are headed. Having a toolbox full of tricks makes managing and enjoying our days so much easier. Maybe one or two of these hacks will work for you, or maybe you'll be inspired to find a few of your own. Let's dive into the discussion. I'm Marcy, and I'm the mom.
I'm Cayd and I'm her kid. I grew up watching my mom juggle all of the balls that life threw at her, and I learned some hacks just through observing her and seeing the way she maneuvered through life. As I've become a young adult, I find myself repeating some of the life hacks that I saw her use, but also I've developed some of my own and figured out what has worked for me. If you have a growth mindset and you don't want to settle just letting life happen to you and letting everything just come on all at once and just forcing yourself to deal with it, you can decide that life is happening for you instead of to you, and you can install guardrails into your life that will help keep you right on track. Mom, how about you share your first life hack with the listeners?
Sure. So, one of the things I do that has helped me over the years, and it was a learned behavior, I didn't know about it at first. I used to run around like a squirrel, ping ponging between activity, getting different things done around the house, but I'd get distracted. Like you've seen those memes where like a mom's like, okay, I'm going to go to bed. And 30
Hmm.
things later, right, she's actually going to bed because she walked into the bathroom to do that. And that led her to the guest room. And then that led her to, and it just becomes a vicious cycle. So, one of the things that I learned to do is to batch my tasks. So it saves me a lot of brain power by making sure that my brain is only having to focus on one thing at a time and to stop that squirrel behavior, which really led to me spending a lot of time getting a whole lot of nothing done.
Hmm.
So, what I mean by batching tasks is like I will make sure that if I am going to do my laundry, I'm not the type of person who can be like, oh, in order to keep up on laundry, I need to do one load a day. That doesn't work for me when it comes to laundry. So, I will batch it and I'll be like, oh, look at that. It's my laundry day. I'm going to make sure that I get it all done in one day. I only have to focus on it one day every 2 weeks and it's done. Right.
Hmm.
So part of what helped me with that and part of what I passed on to my children was, when Cayd was only in first grade, he that summer, right? The kids each got their own laundry day. And his big
Hmm.
brother's job was to help teach Cayd how to do his laundry. But Cayd already knew how to sort laundry and how to fold laundry and put it away because he'd been helping with that with his own stuff for years. But my kids from that point on, so from the time Cayd was in first grade, each had their laundry day and they were to wash it, dry it, put it away all in the same day. Now, did everybody have their own laundry basket? And many times the laundry ended up in the basket in their room, not folded. I gave up on that. I'm like, if they want to wear their clothes wrinkled, that's it. But as long as they're out of
Uh-huh.
my laundry room on my day, that worked great. And I use that same tactic on myself. So laundry is just one example. I will do things. I've had periods in my life where I would stop at the store every day on my way home to work to get what was for
Hmm.
dinner. Not an efficient use of my time, right? So now I sit down and I plan out the entire week worth of meals
Hmm.
based on what we have in the house, right? To try to keep stuff fresh and then I make a grocery list and I go to the grocery store. And I might also piggyback like the Walmart. We live in a smaller town now, but the Walmart visit at that same time and get it all done. I've left the
Hmm.
house. I'm going to batch my errands and I'm going to do them all at once. If my husband and I have errands we need to do in Wichita, which is about 30 minutes away, we will batch them. And we are like errand ninjas. And usually he drives and I'm the one hopping out and running in and doing the task. Sometimes we'll switch it up, but we can hammer out so much stuff together by having one of us drive and the other one just hop in and out. And we'll knock off 7 or 8 different places in a matter of a
Hmm.
couple of hours. So those are just two examples of how I batch tasks. If I have money stuff or bills to pay, like I'll be like, oh, we're doing all of money at this one time to try to make it easier on myself. It gets your brain into that groove, right? And you can focus and you can hammer
Hmm.
stuff out way faster if you're only having to think of one thing at a time. Any feedback on batching tasks? Cayd?
For sure. I would just say, kind of like the example you gave earlier of like going to the bathroom and then seeing something, and then that leads you to the guest room, and then the guest room leads you to the kitchen. I think, like you said, that kind of ping ponging can just leave you not doing anything because you maybe took an hour but only got four things done because a lot of that hour was spent, moving things from place to place or whatever it may be.
Mhm.
So I think batching tasks can be really helpful to get all of that done all at once. One, helpful to get things done, but two, get it out of your mind, like with the grocery store thing you talked about, being able to go to the grocery store all in one swoop for the whole week, then for the rest of the week, you don't have to worry about going to the grocery store. Or, doing your laundry all in one day, then you don't have to worry about doing laundry all week. So I think that is something that could be beneficial, is it kind of just fully completes that task and allows you to move it to the side and then either handle other things, or if life throws additional things at you throughout the week, you're more equipped to handle that because you don't have to go to the store every week, or you don't have to do laundry every other day.
Yeah.
So I think that's something that can be super beneficial for sure.
Yeah, because there were times, like, when you guys were little where, like, if I didn't get to laundry because life threw us something, I had to go to Target and buy new packages of underwear, right? So people
Hmm.
had undies to wear because I wasn't about to tell you to turn them inside out and wear them again, right? Not my style. But
Uh-huh.
so yeah, batching tasks would be my number one hack. What's yours, Cayd?
For sure. My first hack is to establish a routine. That's something that has been really beneficial to me. And I think sometimes people hear routine, they think, okay, I need to get up at 7, and then by 8 I need to do this, and then 9 do this and do that. That's personally not the way I look at a routine, but it can be several small routines throughout the day. If you have a little morning routine of you wake up, you get out of bed, you brush your teeth, you stretch, you wash your face, you do whatever you need to do, and then maybe for 3 or 4 hours there isn't a routine, and you just go through life, whether that's work or you're taking care of your kids or your parents or whatever it may be. But then maybe in the afternoon you have a routine of making a coffee or some tea, or just sitting down with some water and doing whatever you need to do, and having that routine, and then having a nighttime routine. I think that can be super beneficial to kind of help just have those little check-ins throughout the day to make sure you're doing things. I think also a routine can be established for specific tasks, like kind of laundry. You said, for example, if my routine is I'm going to wake up on Saturday morning and start the laundry, and then once it's done, move it into the dryer and then fold it right away, and that's my routine of doing that, I think that can be beneficial, rather than some weeks you do all your laundry all in one day, other weeks you're doing 3 or 4 loads throughout the week, because it just keeps you set on that path. So that almost kind of goes into the batching tasks that you talked about. If my routine is every Sunday to go to the grocery store and run all the errands I need to do, then I should keep up with that, because then when there's a week where I don't go on Sunday and I go on Tuesday, then it's just I personally think it throws everything off, and then just kind of stunts that being able to be successful in that week. So yeah, what do you think about that, Mom, as far as having a
Yeah.
routine?
Establishing a routine, and I know you and I have had this conversation, like words like goal and routine tend to like make me kind of bristle because I'm like more
Hmm.
about dreaming and the flow and rituals, and right. So that word routine, I have learned to really have an admiration for that in watching you do this, right? And so when you say you have these routines, you mean you have these routines. Like I can
Hmm.
predict, I could write out a list of here are things I can count on Cayd doing every single day, that I can see you doing every
Hmm.
day or every week, right? But I think it has been elemental to how successful you've been in balancing school and work and training for a marathon and things like that, because you don't have to think about
Hmm.
what you're doing. And even if you shift it a little bit, like let's say you decide on a work night to go visit your sister for a couple of hours,
Hmm.
and so you've shifted your schedule a little bit. So like let's say, because you work later hours because
Hmm.
your job is Pacific Coast time. And so if you go to see your sister and you're not going to bed your typical bedtime, right, around 9-ish,
Yeah.
but all of a sudden you're going at 11 or 12-ish, like you might decide not to get up early in the morning and work out, but guess what you're doing on your lunch break then? You're
Hmm.
going on a run, right? And so even though sometimes you have to shift those tasks,
Hmm.
you don't just drop the task from your routine
Hmm.
because it didn't fit into today's timeline, right?
For
You have
sure.
just found another way. You've got like a backup routine for your routine.
Hmm. Well, and I
um,
think exactly. I think that's the nice part about a routine, is I kind of have my things in blocks. So it's like, if
mhm,
I can't do this block of my workout in the morning, where else can I fit that block in, whether it's on my lunch break or after work or whatever it may be.
mhm,
So I think that's something that's really important too. If you normally go to the grocery store on Sunday, but it's your friend's birthday and they want to go to Sunday brunch, you could say, okay, it takes me 3 hours to get my grocery, routine done. How that was just a random, time frame. But where can I move that? Can I do that Sunday afternoon? Can I move that to Saturday? So that's one thing that in that routine has helped me. And it's also helped me to manage my time too, because I know,
Mhm.
okay, I'm going to come home after the gym, shower, start work. And then kind of like you said, I do the same thing, most days. I'll, go downstairs, unload the dishwasher, make my breakfast, whatever it may be. So I can kind of say, okay, I know, until about noon, I'm going to be busy doing something. So I think that that is the nice part of having a routine.
Yeah. So hack number one for me, it was batching your tasks. And for Kate, it was establishing a routine. We'll move to hack number two. My second hack that I'm sharing today, and believe me, we have way more than three each, but we just picked three today. Maybe we'll revisit this in another podcast. But what my second hack that I'm offering today is bite-sized pieces. So if there is something that I really am not excited about doing, or really don't enjoy doing, or really don't want to do, or don't feel like doing, right? I'm going to break it up into bite-sized pieces. So this is very different, right, than batching things. So for instance, something I hate doing, I hate cleaning the house. And for much of my adult life, I was able to afford to have a house cleaner. Right now, when I'm running my own business, I don't have a house cleaner. I still hate cleaning the house. And so I will try to break things off into bite-sized pieces. So I might be one day, you know what? I'm going to do the bathroom today. Or it might be, I'm going to run only the vacuum. And it means right now that like my whole house is never clean all at the same time. But if I look big picture, right, it is getting cleaned. It's
Mhm.
just not all cleaned on a Friday by 3 o'clock, right? Because I hate doing it. And if I woke up every Friday and was like, oh my God, I've got to clean the entire house today, I'd be miserable. And so
Mhm.
that doesn't work for me. So I break it up into bite-sized pieces. So when there's a big task or a task that you're not looking forward to doing, breaking things into those small pieces can be really helpful. The same thing works like with a health journey. Like if I'm looking at getting stronger, or I'm looking at building my endurance or anything like that, like I might break it up. And I'm reading a book right now called All It Takes Is a Goal, and he talks about easy goals. So like things that you can focus on and do just for a week. So my easy goal might be, I'm going to walk for 1 mile 3 times
Mhm.
this week. And I'm going to put those blocks Cade talked about, right? Because I believe if you don't write it down, it's probably not going to happen, because you're just going to fill that time with other things, right?
Mhm.
So I put that walking block on, and maybe I successfully do that for a week and I decide to repeat that easy goal next week, but it's a bite-sized piece. It's not, I'm going to walk 3 miles 5 days a week for the rest of my life, which takes you into chaos, right? You're going to fail
Mhm.
if you set that goal for yourself. So the bite-sized pieces thing has really helped me. Like, what one piece can I do right now? And then when you experience the momentum of doing that piece, like if there's something and I'm like, okay, I'm just going to do it for 5 minutes. I've been rearranging my office and haven't had the time to like devote to the whole thing. And I'm like, today I'm
Mhm.
going to spend 5 minutes and I'm going to put the books back the way they belong. Right. Then I get momentum from that. And I might not stop at the book. I might be like, oh,
Mhm.
and look at this little pile of papers over here. I'm going to go through that right now too, because I've got 3 more minutes or whatever that might
Mhm.
be. So putting things in bite-sized pieces can really help you to play that mental reset for yourself of, I don't have to do this thing that I hate all
Mhm.
at once, but it also can help build momentum to help you accomplish a larger task by taking it in bite-sized pieces. Thoughts on that?
For sure. Kind of like you said with cleaning the house, it can, if you're, not someone who likes to clean, it can be a lot to think, okay, I need to spend 4 hours of my day cleaning
Mhm.
the house top to bottom, doing every bathroom, doing every common space, the kitchen, bedrooms, everything like that. That, is probably going to ruin your whole day if you spend the first half of it or the second half of it, just cleaning. But being able to say, okay, I'm going to do the bathroom today, or I'm going to do the living room today, or I'm going to do the kitchen today. That might take 30 minutes. You can get it done. And then, you can move on to the rest or just move on with your day. So I think that that is something that makes it, those tasks you don't like to do, it can
Mhm.
definitely make it a lot more easily digestible for sure.
Yeah, and I get squirrel behavior if I try to do that. Okay, so Friday morning I'm going to clean for 4 hours, right? That
Hmm.
4 hours of cleaning will take up my whole day, and I still won't get it all done, because then I'll
Hmm.
be like, oh, well, there's this distraction over here and this distraction over here, and it literally, I'll be miserable. I've wasted my whole day, right? Like I could
Hmm.
have gotten something else that I really want to do accomplished. So yeah, bite-sized pieces. That's my hack number two. How about yours,
For
Cade?
sure. My second hack, I called it to just do it. I find myself sometimes thinking, okay, I need to clean. I'm going to clean later today, or, I'm going to sit here for 10 minutes and then clean. And then that 10 minutes will go, and okay, 5 more minutes. And then I'm going to get up and clean, or I'm going to get up and do laundry or do homework or whatever it may be. Something that I've really found helpful is to just do whatever it is you're going to do. Just kind of, I just kind of, I tell myself to shut up and do it. That's been my, recent motto. If I'm, sitting here thinking, okay, once I finish this cup of coffee, I'm going to go do whatever it is, whether it's go to the grocery store or start homework or whatever it may be. I think it's easy, at least for me, to kind of get in the trap of, oh, I'll do it later, or I'll do it. And like kind of like that trap of sometimes I'll say, okay, I'll wait till noon to do it. And then it'll be, oh, at 12:05, I'll get started. And then you kind of just fall in that trap of pushing it back and back. And especially those little tasks that you don't want to do. Sometimes it's even, okay, I'll let the dogs out after this. Those things just kind of trickle. And then that ends up, you waste 30 minutes of your day just sitting there thinking about what you're going to do. And that can also go into, too, I'm a big planner, but sometimes I think you can also over plan. You can spend an hour on Monday night planning what you're going to do on Tuesday instead of just getting up and doing it on Tuesday. I like to plan in the sense of, okay, this is what I need to get done tomorrow. But I have some friends who have calendars and they've planned out every single minute of their whole entire day, which is great, if that works for you, but you're spending so much time planning out what you're going to do. So I think that one thing that works for me is to just do it, whether it's cleaning or homeworks, normal work, taking, doing something for your kids or something around the house, whatever it needs to be done. Something that's helped me is to just do it and get it done. And then a lot of the times I realize that things are easier or take less time than you thought it would. You're sitting there thinking, oh, I really don't want to clean. I really don't want to clean.
Mm-hmm.
But once you get up and just do it, you can look back and say, oh, it only took me 10 minutes to vacuum. Okay, now I'm done with that. And then I can, move on to the next, or then I can relax or whatever it may be. So that's my second hack.
I love that. Just do it. And because like I'm noticing a theme kind of as we talk through these things, like it allows you, if you are able to simplify the way that you're executing your things, it's freeing up brain power and giving you more time to do other things.
Mm-hmm.
Because the emotional weight that having those undone things puts
Mm-hmm.
on you, right? Like it just monopolizes your thoughts, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you start to feel like a failure because you didn't do the things you set out to do. And so that just do it, I follow Mel Robbins and, she's like, you are never going to feel like doing XYZ. Like for me, I
Mm-hmm.
will never be the person that says, oh, I feel like exercising this morning. That's not who I am, right? I'm never going to be that person or that piece of person who says, oh, I can't wait to clean my house. I have friends who like, that's their therapy. They clean when they get upset. And I'm like, oh, not
Mm-hmm.
me. Like I'm as far away from that as I can be. But the just do it attitude, whether you feel like it or not,
Mm-hmm.
just doing it and doing it in the moment, like you said, not putting it
Mm-hmm.
off. That was my first thought when you were saying just do it. And then when you were talking about, the over planning, like I was the master of the to-do list and I still have to-do
Mm-hmm.
lists everywhere. Like I have notebooks of to-do lists. And I actually had a thought earlier this week. What would happen if I just threw away the to-do list?
Mm-hmm.
I was sorting through some papers and I actually found like a to-do list from 2019 that still has stuff on it that in my brain, I think I probably should do. But if it
Mm-hmm.
hasn't been done since 2019, it probably doesn't need to get done.
Exactly. Well,
Right?
and I
It
think
was sitting
that's
in and under the bed box.
exactly. Well, and I think it's, a lot of the time subconsciously, I think we think, okay, I'm working towards my goal by making this to-do list of this is what I'm going to do today. But then again, you're spending 30 minutes planning
Yeah.
out what you're going to do today. And then kind of like you talked about freeing up that mental space. Now you've just spent 30 minutes thinking about all you have to do. And then it's easy to fall on the, oh, I really have so much to do today. I don't want to, I don't know where to start.
Yeah.
Instead of just saying, okay, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to clean the kitchen, or first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to take my dogs for a walk. So just do it, just get started. And sometimes too, that does turn into you do it and you realize you don't want to do it. If you're like, okay, I'm going to clean the whole house today, let me just do it. And you just do it for 30, 45 minutes and, you're just not in the mood. It's okay to then sit back and say, okay, let me, find something else productive I can do, or let me just relax. And, it's not my time to do that. I'm a big believer in thinking that it's always a good idea to just wait until it's the right time. Sometimes I think it's not, oh, I just don't want to clean, I'm just talking myself out of it. Sometimes you're just not in the mood to clean, or you're not in the mood to call that friend you've been meaning to call, or whatever it may be. So really important to figure out where you're at, but at the end of the day, just do the things that you need to get done.
Yeah, so hack 2 for Marcy and Cayd, bite-sized pieces, and then just do it. And what you just said, Cayd, was a really good transition to my hack number 3, which is embracing your energy. So
Mhm.
this is kind of a double-edged sword. Like Cayd talked about, there are certain times where you just are not going to be in the headspace to particular thing you had planned for that particular time. So I'll use the example of writing. If I just think that I'm going to sit down and I'm going to write a blog post, and I sit in front of my computer and I've been sitting there for 20 minutes and I still don't have any words on the paper, I
Mhm.
could sit there for another 2 hours and maybe type out 1 or 2 sentences. But if my head is not in the space where I can sit down and hammer out an 800-word blog post in an hour, edited and everything, right? Like I should probably get up and do something different. So it's
Mhm.
about showing yourself that grace and embracing your energy. Like Cayd said, take that block and move it somewhere else, what you were going to do. And then you could look at, okay, what other thing am I in a better space to tackle? So if I can't sit
Mhm.
down in that moment and write something, what is my energy telling me to do? Like maybe
Mhm.
I need to go on a walk. So I go on a walk, which actually, just like a power plants don't have energy. They make energy. Thank you, Brendan Burchard, another guy that I follow. When I heard that, I was like, oh, that's true. Like I have to create my own energy. So maybe what I need in that moment when I can't write is I need to get up and I need to go for a walk,
Mhm.
right? Maybe it's that I actually didn't sleep well last night and I need to go take a nap. Now, that nap is not an excuse for not getting my blog post written. It's showing myself grace that my energy is not in the right space to do writing at this time, but it might be in
Mhm.
the right space to tackle sorting through some boxes in the basement or to go on a walk or whatever that might be. So
Mhm.
I really believe, like you said, Kate, there is a right time for everything. And sometimes what I thought on Monday was going to be right for that block on Wednesday is
Mhm.
is not right when I actually
Exactly.
get to Wednesday.
And
That's
that's
all.
another thing with exactly, that's another thing with planning too, is sometimes you, like, get in okay, on Friday, I'm gonna clean, and, I can't wait to have this clean house, and then Friday comes around and you're not in the mood, or you didn't sleep well, or you got bad news first thing in the morning, or whatever it may be. So I like the phrase "embrace your energy," and, kind of, when you're talking about the blog post too, it might normally take you an hour to write a blog post when you're in the mood for it, but if your energy isn't there and you still force yourself to do it, it might take you 4 hours to write that blog post. And then again, it goes back to wasting the time versus if you took 30 minutes to go take a walk and then 30 minutes to cook yourself something to eat. And then you sat back down and write it in blog post. Then that only took you 2 hours and you even
Mhm.
got more done. So I think that that's important and can really help you, figure out what to do next. Most people have more than one task they need to do.
Yes.
So if you're, trying to do your homework and you or write a paper and you just you're not in the right mood, you've probably got 10 other tasks that you could be doing. So take a second, do those other tasks. And I personally think either it will, help your brain to reset to get you back in that mind space. It'll sometimes, in the example of writing a paper, that's a very mental activity. Sometimes you need to do something physical. There's been times where
Mhm.
I've been trying to sit down and do homework and I'm just so antsy, I just can't sit and do it. So I'll do things like go for a walk or get up and clean for, 30 minutes, whatever it may be, just to kind of get that physical energy out and then
Mhm.
kind of shift that into the mental energy. So I really like that.
Yeah, and embracing your energy, like, is not an opportunity to sit and scroll on your phone for the hour
Mhm.
that you had set aside to write your post, right? Because then that's the opposite of the just do it that Kate just talked
Mhm.
about, right? We're not using embrace your energy as an excuse to do nothing or to, sometimes we do need to fully embrace if we're having a really, really heavy day for whatever reason. Like sometimes you do need space to heal, and sometimes that needs to be a task that you're doing. But sitting there scrolling your phone is not actively going to move you in that direction. Or maybe calling a good friend to talk through
Mhm.
something, making an appointment with your life coach, like
Mhm.
different things, right? Could get you moving in a positive direction. So it's not about numbing. Don't mistake embracing your energy as an excuse
Mhm.
for
For sure.
numbing and then falling into that away from the just do it, right? Whether you want to or
Mhm.
not. So whether you want to or not doesn't mean you have to do it in this moment, right? But it's about embracing your energy and showing yourself that grace to do tasks that fit the energy of your day, the energy of that hour, whatever that, the energy of your emotions, right? If you just had a death in the family, or you've had just lost your job, or you've got something really difficult going on, probably not the time to take on a big new
Hmm.
project that maybe needs to be rescheduled for down the road.
For
So
sure.
that's my hack number 3. Cayd, what's yours?
For sure. My third hack is to clean your space. And before I start, that doesn't mean, clean your room, clean your house. It can mean that, but that's not necessarily what I'm talking about. I think, if you've got a lot going on and you just feel like there's so many tasks going on, clean your space can physically mean cleaning your room, cleaning your apartment, cleaning your house, or it could also mean clearing that mental space to be able to have those tasks. So if it's a Saturday morning at 8 a.m. and you're looking at a list of all the things you have to get done, whether it's a mental list or a physical list, and it just seems so overwhelming, take 30 minutes to just sit and like clean your mind and clear your mind and think through everything. Think about how you want to attack the day. If you work in an office and you're just feeling very overwhelmed with all the work you have to do, take a second to clear off all the saved documents that are on your desktop that you probably don't even need, or go through your file cabinet and clear that out. I personally find a lot of clarity, and it helps me a lot to, whether it's have a clean car or a clean room, or to clear out, the unread messages on my phone or the unread emails or things like that. Because it just, in my mind, if I, have a lot going on mentally, if, it's been a rough week or anything like that, I'll sometimes take 30 minutes or an hour to clean my room, because then I know that I don't have to worry about that. I'm not sitting here thinking, okay, I have so much going on, and my room's a mess, and my car's a mess, and my desktop at work is a mess, and everything like that. It just really, it's something that has helped me a lot to have clarity. Again, if you're going through a rough time mentally and you're sitting in your house, and not only are you going through a rough time mentally, but then you're also saying, oh, the floor needs to be swept, and there's dust here, and there's
Mhm.
this there, and the dog's toys are everywhere, or my kids' toys are everywhere. It just adds on to that stress. So I think that having that clean space can help. And I think also doing it as a precaution can also be beneficial. If you know you're going to have a busy week at work, or it's going to be an emotional week, take the time to clean your space, and take the time to have that mental second to yourself to clean your mind before that week comes ahead, so that way you're just better equipped to handle it. So clean your space is my third hack. And again, that doesn't always mean that you need to clean your house or your room, but just clean up what you can. Again, take those bite-sized pieces, like my mom said. Take that 30 minutes to clean your desktop at work, or to clean out the emails in your phone, whatever it may be, to open up that space in your mind, so that way when life does happen, you're more readily available to handle it.
Yeah, and mental and physical space, like especially for, parents, moms in the room, like we jokingly say we've got like all the tabs, 170 tabs open on our computer at one time in our brain, right? I mean, no joke. I'm over 170 tabs open on Safari on my phone right now, and I've got 17,000 unread emails between my 5 emails. Like
Uh-huh.
clearly I have a problem with this, right? And I don't like to physically clean my space. But I am a ninja when it comes to clearing clutter, right? We've
Mhm.
downsized several times in our lives, and we're going through another one right now because we combined 2 households and thought there was some stuff we needed to hang on to, and we're getting ready to have a garage sale this fall. And going through and clearing out some of the clutter and just simplifying, by cleaning your space. Kay's got tons of plants, which are great because they're bringing in fresh air. He doesn't have a lot of knickknacks in his space,
Mhm.
like a lot of cluttery stuff. And so it does help you to be able to think with a clear mind, right? When you are not surrounded by chaos. So
Mhm.
clutter equaling chaos. And that could be clutter on your desktop, like you talked about. It could be clutter in your home. It could be clutter in your phone. Clearly, I need to spend some time there. But, that is a symptom of a busy life, right? Is
Mhm.
not having that clutter cleared. So I love, Kate, that you talk about doing that on the regular, or if you have 5 or 10 minutes here, hey, I'm gonna do my desktop on my
Mhm.
computer. I'm gonna clean this one area, straighten up this one thing, spend some time in my car, whatever that might look like. So
For sure.
um, love that. So hacks number 3, embracing your energy, making sure you're doing the appropriate tasks on the appropriate day when you have the appropriate energy, and then cleaning your space, both mental and physical. So those are
Mhm.
hacks 3. I'm going to do a quick recap. Hack number 1 for each of us: batching tasks and establishing a routine. Hacks number 2, take things in bite-sized pieces and just do it. Cayd wears a lot of Nike too. Hack number 3, embracing your energy and cleaning your space, mental and emotional. So thanks for sharing your life hacks with our listeners today, Cayd.
For
If
sure.
this conversation has inspired any of you to try out some hacks of your own, we would love to hear about them. Gift yourself with 30 minutes to sit down and just brainstorm what some of those hacks might be to help you with tasks in your life. What might help you to have a more balanced life or might free up more time for the things that you would rather be doing. So life hacks are going to become habits when you repeat them over and over again, or rituals, as I would like to say. Those habits are going to provide you with a really stable foundation. So when the train does go off the tracks, you're more likely to keep those habits going, and it will keep you level, and it will make it that much easier to deal with whatever the bump in the road is, right? So life's going to throw you stuff
Sure.
once in a while. Prone to happen, always does. So, but the stronger your foundation is and those rituals and habits and routines, the better. Think about your biggest pain points and start there. What has got you most frustrated? What would you like to harness to make your life have a cleaner, clearer, higher level of quality? And those are called life hacks, the things that you create to make your life simpler. How can you make it easier on yourself? Try them out, tweak them if you need to, over and over until it works like a charm. So, Cayd, any other parting thoughts about life hacks?
For sure. Like you said, I think that life hacks are something that can definitely change over time, can change based on, your different situations in life. So it's important to figure out what works for you, what doesn't work for you. Obviously we shared 6 total today. All 6 most likely aren't going to resonate with you. All 6, you might either already do some of them, maybe you've tried some of them and they haven't worked, but it's just figuring out what works for you and what leads you to be the most successful version of yourself. But with that being
Excellent.
I was gonna say, I think with that being said, that is a wrap for this episode of Raising Bigs. Thank you all for listening today. We appreciate you tuning in. We hope you found some takeaways, a fresh perspective, and maybe even an action step or two in this episode. Above it all, we hope it opens an opportunity for conversation between bigs and their parents. We definitely are not experts by any means, but we can authentically share what we're learning in hopes of making the path a little bit easier for those who are listening. You can find this podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. We hope that you can subscribe and share with those in your circle who you think might benefit from hearing it. A new episode of Raising Bigs comes out every week on those platforms.
You can visit my life coaching website at marcihawkinson.com or email me at lifecoachmarci@gmail.com. You can also find me on Facebook at lifecoachmarci and Instagram at life_coach_marci. Where can our listeners connect with you, Cayd?
My handle across all social media platforms is the Cayd Berrigan. That's where you can find me. The best way to contact us, whether you want to give us feedback, ask questions, or leave any topic ideas, is to DM either one of us on social media or to reach out on the contact me page on my mom's website. Again, that is marcihawkinson.com. We appreciate any feedback, topic ideas, questions, or comments that you may have, and we will see you next time on the next episode of Raising Bigs.